We got Miles Bridges news to break, ladies and gentlemen. Today, Miles Bridges was in a workout that you see here. Also, Miles Bridges posted Lamelo Ball MB1, the one of one. You already know what it is. These two, that's a dynamic duo, a young dynamic duo on the rise. The Charlotte Hornets, I'm telling you, if you know what's good for you, you will reunite this dynamic duo that you have. We all know the Airbnb, the situation that was going on. They pretty much do something crazy out there in the Queen City. The Queen City ain't seen nothing like this in a minute. And it would be really upsetting if it all broke apart. Obviously, we being sensitive to the situation that Miles had to endure, but now that it's been resolved in the courts and it's been resolved by the league, it's time to, just try to have a new beginning of some sort. Miles Bridges is entering, another year, obviously a contract year. We don't know exactly the ramifications of his deal or what is going to happen with him, but we do know that Charlotte owns his rights. And Lamelo Ball wants him, and for him to post him on his Snapchat story, I think that was definitely something, just really spectacular, to say the least. They want to get back together, and I know LaMelo wants him. When LaMelo goes up to the podium and makes it very emphatic on what he feels, Miles Bridges has something to do with that. I ain't saying everything, but have something. We don't know for sure if the Charlotte Hornets are going to get the #1 overall pick. That's not for certain. The way the draft is set up now is not like how it was before, where all of the 3 top worst teams would have had the same amount percentage. It's really tricky now on what can take place with this draft, So if you don't upgrade your roster through the draft, let's say you don't get a top 3 pick or a top 5, which is possible of happening, how else do you upgrade this roster? You got Miles Bridges sitting there waiting. That's the only way. If the Wembanyama situation happened, I think you got a serious playoff threat. And we touched on that before. Last time we seen Miles with MB1, they were always scratching and clawing to get into the postseason. It's time to get back to that. I believe that it's unfinished business between LaMelo Ball, MB1, the one of one, and Miles Bridges. They know and believe that they can get it done in the Queen City. It can happen because they was knocking on the door. They was right in the mix with the Hawks and all of these teams that was down bottom with the Heat and all these people, hovering for a playoff spot, and now the tables have shifted. They had multiple injuries. LaMelo has to get healthy. We all know the ankle, that's going to shake off. LaMelo's going to come back better. You have to give him some weapons. You have a dynamic point guard on your hands if you Charlotte. This man right here, he didn't come in thinking he was going to be the passer. We thought a scorer. We all knew that he was a passer, but the way the NBA projected him was more of the scoring guard compared to his brother Lonzo. They didn't really touch on his assist game and things of that nature. And I'm here to tell you LaMelo Ball is one of the best passers in basketball, hands down, and it's not even close. Anybody that, has any kind of argument with that, you truly making a fool of yourself. LaMelo Ball, when the last time we seen him this season, he averaged 23 points per game. He shot 41% from the field, shot 37% from 3, averaged 6 rebounds and 8 assists. Repeat, 8 assists and a steal and damn near half a block. Melo was everywhere. You have to bring his #1 weapon, you understand, which is Miles Bridges. Those two together, it puts so much pressure on the defense and it opens up the floor for the other players. You have a Mark Williams coming in, possibly a top rookie coming in, possibly. You have to relieve the pressure. We don't know what Charlotte's going to do because we got to think, okay, if they don't get the #1 pick, do they trade the pick? Do you bring Miles back? Do you bring PJ and you move the pick along with some of the assets that you got here just sitting here going to waste, like the Book Knights, the Joneses, and the list goes on? What about some of these other guys? you could get some value for him, along with that pick. Charlotte could mess around and get something serious, so it's going to be interesting to see the direction they move in. But Miles Bridges is a part of this, and Miles posted in his workout, you see him always wearing Hornets gear. Clearly, is some relationship between the Hornets organization and Miles Bridges. And I think the only reason why Charlotte they really can't wash their hands with Miles is due to the Lamelo Ball factor. You can't just let Miles go and not have an adequate replacement. You understand? Just think from a basketball perspective here, ladies and gentlemen. On the floor, you can't just lose Miles and not replace it. Like, you basically going to roll out what just happened last year and what happened just the year that just passed. Obviously guys will get better, but Miles was knocking on the door as an all-star. You talking about, it was actually consideration for him to be an all-star last season, not this season that just passed, his last season that he played, which they lost in the play-in. They didn't have good outings in the play-in, 2 blowouts to Indiana and then obviously to Atlanta, and both of them were on the road. Who knows what could have happened this season? The Charlotte Hornets fought like hell. I think Charlotte didn't get enough credit for the fight that they had. We don't know. Steve Clifford hasn't got a chance to get Miles. Like I said, that adds a whole different type of dynamic to Steve Clifford's offense. So you got to make things easier on your newly acquired head coach. He's headed into his 2nd season. And we all know Charlotte is not a free agent destination. Teams ain't flocking when they make trade requests. They don't have the Charlotte Hornets on the list as the target, that they would like to move to. But I'm telling you, you don't know what could happen. Like, this is going to be a crazy postseason. You don't know where players are going to land. Charlotte could be a destination for some people. I'm telling you, a disgruntled star, something. Charlotte is in a great place right now, no matter where they land. Number one, because they have Lamelo and they own the rights to Miles Bridges, And if nothing else, you bring Miles back to this team that fought like hell. And Charlotte played well. It's just they didn't get off to a good start. Lamelo missed, games, and it just got them off to a horrible, start. But, if they could get a running back situation with all of their weapons, with the improved play of Mark Williams, and obviously some of the other young guys that they have on this roster, I think that changes everything. Nick Richards, all of these guys could bowl well against with Miles, because Miles will relieve pressure off all of them, including PJ, open the floor for him, and like I said, relieve heat off of the 2nd-year player, which will be Mark Williams, who has an unbelievable future. And it's time to get back to Airbnb and back to winning and back to Queen City Charlotte Hornets basketball knocking on the door of the postseason. It's Flight Sports TV. You already know what it is. Miles Bridges posted Lamelo Ball on his Snapchat story, and you obviously see sights and sounds from his workout earlier today. Charlotte Hornets, you got a true gem, and he's on the way. It's Flight Sports.